Oh, my face. Oh my goodness. It just goes to show you that it's like I got completely thrown off. So good morning, everybody. I'm a little late because I'm trying to find Nita. I don't know if she forgot that we changed on Tuesdays or today's Tuesday. So I don't know what's going on. Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2026, the last Tuesday of August, and I hate it. But yeah, so most likely it's just going to be me today unless one of Nita's kids reminds her that there's a show today. But we can handle it. We can handle it. That's fine. That's fine. so so I guess we might as well just get this started the way we always do. A mess. And as you can see without the card, I am absolutely not ready for this. But you know what? Let's hit it. Well, might as well try to pretend that we're somewhat normal today. Oh my goodness. So let's see who's joining me in the chat today. So hello, Lou. Hello. It's like, hey, Lorraine. I instantly thought it was Monday. No, it's Tuesday. That's kind of the problem with changing schedules, is that it completely throws us all off. I had to remind myself that we run shows on Tuesdays now. Because it's like we're so used to, we've been doing, running shows on Monday for the past 5 years or something. So this one change is enough to kind of discombobulate us. But we now run the shows on Tuesday at 11 a.m. so, Eastern time. So I guess Nita just has to. Well, to be fair, it's like she has been having problems with her. I don't know if it's the internet itself or the power, just the power in general. So I don't know if that's the case. What's going on? So, or she slept in because she forgot that we have the show. So who knows? Who knows? I'm pretty sure she'll pop in once she realizes what's going on. So good morning, everybody. Hello, Anna. Hello. And yes, I see you, our beautiful eyeball people watching from regions beyond. If you are joining me from Facebook, actually, no, you're not joining me from Facebook, because I just realized that Facebook is not live. Ever since I got a restriction on Facebook, for let's just say a poorly worded joke that whatever AI bot they're using to moderate took literally. I've never been able to get my Facebook connected correctly to the Streamyard since. So if you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. And make sure you share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. And again, it's like I'm still waiting for Nita. So Hello everyone. If you are, if you are here for the first time, hello. My name is Daphne Lage, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and a comic book artist from New York. If you couldn't tell from my accent, I have been publishing fantasy comics since 1992, and I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales and my medieval fantasy drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which you can read on Webtoon with new episodes updating every Tuesday, which means that about an hour you're going to have a new episode of Eagle Raven as well. So you can catch up with, like it's just starting issue 9, so you can catch up with issues 1 through 8 completely on Webtoon for free. Because if you are following me for my Kickstarters, Eagle Raven issue 13 is on pre-launch right now. So the link is in the chat and the show notes. I'm looking to launch that campaign mid-September. So we're close, which gives me some time to finish working on issue 13. I have 6 pages left to go. So if you are familiar with Eagle Raven already, the links are in the chat and in the show notes. And if you are, if you are not familiar with Eagle Raven, again, you can read it, follow the link over to Webtoon, and you can check it out. If you want the quick rundown, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm who trains to become a knight, hoping to win a king's favor and save her people. It's about trying to find your place in opposite worlds and learning the people who will stand by your side and lift you up are not the ones you'd expect. Eagle Raven is a sword and sorcery fantasy with a soap opera twist featuring character relationship stories with unicorns, elves, dragons, and furries. So there you go. So if you want to check it out on Webtoon, you can right now. And when you're done reading there, go check out the pre-launch page and sign up for issue 13, which you will be able to catch up on the entire series on that campaign as well. It's not just for issue 13. So that's what's currently I guess is it currently what's going on? Well, it's like they did say it was finishing up issue 13. The extra large tablet is working very well. Although it didn't do much for speeding up my process, though. Let me see. Let me show you guys what the page that I'm already finished with this particular page, but let me see. Share screen. I just finished. I finished this page a couple of days ago. And like I said, I'm working on a new 24-inch Cintiq, which is definitely much nicer to work on than my 16-inch Cintiq. But like I said, it hasn't done much to change like how fast I'm working on these pages. So this particular page that I finished a couple of days ago, according to Clip Studio, this page took me 25 hours and 18 minutes. So, it's like, so I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, what's going on here. Like, I would have thought it'd take it, it's certainly being able to record how long these pages are taking me is definitely a humbling experience. This particular page, that's just one of my asset files that I was putting together. So this is Eagle Raven's swords. And so then that way I don't have to keep drawing them over and over again. I have kind of like a love-hate relationship with assets in Clip Studio Paint. Like I make my own assets because it's in my style, it's like it's my drawing. It doesn't feel like it's out of place like a lot of the assets that is available in Clip Studio. Because sometimes it's like I see I see like other creators like on Webtoon, and I can see immediately like the assets that they're using. And I always kind of wondered like what percentage of a comic page has to be assets before it's just you just didn't draw it anymore, you know? But in this case, it's like I said, I create my own assets. So I was in the process of doing that. But this is the page that I'm working on right now. And according to Clip Studio, this page has already taken me 9 hours and 53 minutes. And the thing that you have to know about this time. Hello, the Zhang brothers. Uh, full body character in comic panel does take a long time to draw in color. Yeah, exactly, right. Um, it's definitely very time consuming as opposed to just doing like a bust up or like a face close up, and especially for putting in backgrounds. And and the problem is that like especially from like issue 13 to issue 16, like the last 4 issues of Eagle Raven, there's a lot of people in these panels. So and just so everybody knows, the Zhang brothers have been doing some absolutely kick-ass variant covers for Eagle Raven. The next one is on this upcoming campaign, but if you missed the last Zhang brothers uh, uh variant cover, it's also going to be on that campaign as well. I mean, absolutely, gorgeous stuff. I mean, I still can't believe that I got them on my schedule to make me stuff. So thank you so much, and I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Lorraine says, "Isn't 24 hours for a full page pretty good?" I don't know. I don't know. You see, I think the problem is that I've been kind of like it's the typical comic book artist thing. We're always overestimating or underestimating how long it takes for us to do our work. So it's like, I've always liked to think that or for like the longest time, like if anybody ever asked me, so how long does it take for you to do a page? I would always say, oh, it takes me a day. Right. But it's not a full 24 hours. We're talking about like 6 hours or something. Right. And ever since I started paying attention to Clip Studio, like marking the time, and mind you, it only marks the time that I'm actually working. Cursor, it's like, pen to screen. It only counts that time, not the time that I'm fussing around and leaving the page open, the file open. So this time is accurate to the actual work that I'm doing. So here's the thing though, 24 or 25 hours for a page doesn't mean it took me over a day to do. It means that the actual work that I did on the page took 25 hours, but the actual time that I spent was probably about a week. So, so when like people would ask, how long does it take for me to do a page? Like I said, it's like, I always thought that it's like, I always like readily said, it's like, oh, it takes me about a day. So in 30 days, I can have a comic done. No, that's not how long it takes me to do a comic. Usually what it is that it takes me a month to do the pencils. Right. And mind you, these are all digital pages. So these are all like the different levels of work. So it takes me a month to do the pencils, a month to do the inks, and then another month to do the coloring. Right. Just, about which is the shading and the coloring. Right. And even then, I don't think that's accurate either. The only way that I would have to really find out like what the actual time is, I would have to go through an issue, clock all the times that Clip Studio gives me, and then come up with a final number for that. But like I said, just because it says a page took me 24 hours, that's 24 hours probably spread out over a week. So yeah, so the fact that I'm even on issue 13 right now is still surprising. I started publishing Ego Raven. Issue 1 came out in 2021. So it took me about 5 years to get to this point. Um as opposed to like with Tall Tales, that took me 20 years because I was literally just putting out like a issue a year essentially. Like maybe if I like was lucky, I had like two. I don't think there ever was a moment I had 3 issues a year, like complete. Um, and mind you, this was when I was drawing traditionally. So, so when I started working digitally, doing my pencils and inks and coloring digitally, I did notice I was speeding up. Oh wow! They said the Zhang brothers are saying that's still a very good speed. It takes us 6 months to do an issue, and we are two guys. And you guys are, and mind you, the Zhang brothers are beast mode, like beast mode creators, because on top of that, they're doing all these variant covers and they're doing animated shorts on top of it. So for two guys, for two guys to still get a full issue out in 6 months, it's like, I mean, really, it's like I could, like, I've been playing around with like adding animation, but I've just haven't been able to set aside enough time to actually get something functional together. So it's like, I guess I'm just the type that it's like I have to focus on one thing. And it's like, even though, and I have like all these little half finished animation projects that I'm working on, but I have to finish the comic, because like I said, especially with this particular issue, I already have it scheduled for mid-September. So I want to get these as 6 incredibly complicated issues, pages out of the way. So yeah, so when I transferred from doing traditional art to digital, I did notice the speed up because, like I said, Ego Raven took me 5 years to do what took me 15, 20 years for Tall Tales. And Tall Tales, the original series, the main series is 20 issues. And so it took me 20 years to do that. And when I decided that I was going to work on Ego Raven seriously and put that out on Kickstarter, I made that decision that I was not going to make the same mistake with this that I did with Tall Tales. That it's like, okay, I'm going to get my shit together and I'm going to put out this 20 issues as quickly as possible. I'm not going to spend another 20 years on a second story. It's like, no, it's like we're putting this out as quickly as possible. And and the good thing about Kickstarter is that, yeah, it gives me that target to work towards. Like, oh, I got to get, it's like I pre-schedule out my Kickstarters and as best as I can. And then I use those dates to really hustle those issues to those dates. So far it worked. Although Jose thinks I'm crazy for, doing like scheduling out my campaigns a year in advance, because he just runs a campaign whenever he feels like it, and that's usually like every 2 to 3 weeks, it seems, because he just has so much material like already done. But I have to make this, my buffer is long gone, so I have to make these issues as they're coming out. So I have to schedule them and give them, and give myself that deadline to get these books done, or else I'm going to end up making the same mistake I did with Tall Tales. I mean, the funny thing is that when we were going to conventions regularly, at the time, that the conventions like San Diego Comic-Con was like, that's where like we would target all of our projects. So it's like, okay, we're going to San Diego. We got, so everything has to be ready for San Diego so that we could release it then. And that worked out, that worked out pretty okay for several years. But once we stopped going to conventions, then it's like that's where Kickstarter took over. So, and Kickstarter allows us to like do several deadlines. But still, though, like I said, it's very humbling. Clip Studio Paint is very humbling in telling me like how long this stuff is actually taking me. Am I a little bothered by it? Yes, but at the same time, it's like it is what it is. I mean, like I kind of remember myself being a little bit faster, before. So it's like, so I don't know what the holdup is. And and it's not, and the thing is, though, you look at my style and you don't think it's like, because when I got that first digital commission from the Zhang brothers, right? I asked them for the Photoshop layers. I think they offered it. I don't remember before that I asked for it or they offered it. And I think I only opened up that file once because there must have been what looked like 100 layers in that file. And I go, okay, whatever I thought I was going to learn by looking at their layers is like, forget it. Forget it. It's just easier for me to pay them to do the pieces, because that was like really intense, layer management in that file. So so I try to keep my digital files as simple as possible, and like my style, which I just recently heard Wendy Pini say at a convention, that it's like your style is the sum of all of your mistakes. And it's like, boy, do I have a lot of mistakes. But but I try to keep my drawing style as simple as possible. But like even then, that doesn't guarantee a faster set of pages. And and the thing is too, is that like, when I'm, when I'm done with these pages and I'm kind of like, it's like, and I'm looking at these pages, it's like sometimes I wonder, it's like, it's like, could I make this even simpler? Right? It's like, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it's like I'm trying to find this middle ground between a simple style. I have 100 layers open and I don't know where the music is coming from. Right. Yes, it's very similar. It's very similar. Especially when there's a mark you need to erase and you don't know what layer it's on and you're trying to erase it and it won't erase. So so it's like my whole thing is just trying to find like a middle ground between a simple style and a style that looks like I've put effort into it. So like I don't want to bog down my work with details, especially since I don't really feel like I'm skilled enough that I could put in a lot of detail and still keep the artwork visually clear. Honestly, it's like, I think like one thing that I want to like kind of get to, not now, not with this issue, probably not even with this series right now, but like later on, I want to kind of, like tweak my coloring a bit to kind of like, be more, not realistic, but like I don't know, like be just again like that whole visually clear. So, but that's going to be a project for another day, along with the little animation projects I still need to finish. Like this particular page took 18 hours and 23 minutes. And then it's like, I'm also like sitting back going, it's like, you know what, like how much of this detail do people notice really? It's like, because which is kind of the ironic thing about a simpler style is that I'm not really sure if like people pay more attention or less attention to detail if the style is simpler. Because because I was like thinking about this, I'm like going, like, if I'm looking at a comic book that the person has not a hyper realistic style, but there is a certain level of realism to their work, even if it's cartoony. Um, but like you can tell their skill foundation is like really top notch. Um, I'm always looking for more detail in a more realistic looking piece of artwork than when I'm looking at like a more cartoony style, which is which you have to be careful with, because it's kind of like when anime or manga first got big, and everybody thought it was just like, that style's really simple, it's just big eyes and big heads, it's like anybody could do that, right? And then the people who tried to come out with their own manga, all of a sudden you could tell immediately, it's like, oh yeah, this is a lot harder than it looks. It's deceptively simple. And I really noticed this with a lot of European comics, where like the cartooning is on point, but you can tell that there is like immense skill underneath that, um in order to get the artwork looking simple. I mean, I know that I mentioned it on another show where it's like that the realism is not the goal, like it's the simplicity. It's like you want to get so skilled that you know what to take away from the artwork, and still and then still showcase what you're trying to showcase in the work, and still have the skill shine through. So, so that's kind of, yeah. So maybe one day I'll do a project where I go through every page in Clip Studio, mark down the hours and the minutes, and then get like an accurate assessment as to how long it really took me to do this issue. So yeah, so that's kind of like what's going on my end. I mean, it's kind of like I try to housekeep as long as I could, just to give Nita a chance to pop in. Um, but I guess, yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to assume that either her power's down or she forgot. Which is a shame, because it's like I gave her a list of topics for the show today, and she chose this one, and I was really excited to talk about this topic today. But you know what? I guess you guys in the chat can help me with this as well. Um, so you all know about my obsession, my hyperfixation with monster romance books. This has been a thing for for me for like the past 3 years, I think. Like this kind of like came late, very, very late, in my hyperfixation. Uh and and one of the things that I have been doing is that there's this convention that specializes in this type of work, Monsterotica, that they started. I just attended the second year of it this year. Last year was the first, so this year I attended the second Monsterotica, which was a lot of fun. Even though it's like, holy shit, it's like I cannot. It's a small show, and I guess it reminded me as to like kind of like how out of it I am from the convention scene. Um, in terms of going to a convention for fun. I mean, I'm used to going to conventions and being behind the table. And this was kind of like the first convention in a very, 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 very long while that I've gone to just for fun. And being in front of the table, shocked me as to how exhausting that is. Walking the crowds, walking each table, talking to everybody, not talking to everybody, Um, so I did the second year, went to the second year, had a great time. So the tickets, they had said that the tickets for Monsterotica 3 um was supposed to be released in August. So I've been like, oh, waiting. Yeah, I know. We always remember our first potato. I still have that potato somewhere. Um, so so it's like, so I've been waiting. Oh, hey Joe, hey Jody, hey. So I was waiting for the tickets to go live, because the thing is, though, it's like, it's a small show if you consider, like, San Diego Comic Con has over 100,000 people. New York Comic Con has over 100,000 people. I think New York Comic Con is already at 200,000 people that attend. Monsterotica, they capped the tickets off at 400. At least that's what they did on the second one. The first one, I think they capped it off at 200, because the woman running it wanted to make sure. I don't know, Joe. It's like, I was kind of stalling for a bit, and I did text her, and I haven't. So I'm either assuming she's sleeping and forgot, or she went out and forgot that we have a show on Tuesday, or her power's out, or either her power or her internet is out, because she's been having problems with that. So I don't know. I'm sure she's okay. I'll find out later. Um, so you have, so the first show they capped off at 200. I was only able to I lucked out getting a ticket for the first one, because someone was reselling it, and I caught them as they were reselling it. So I was able to get the first, for the first Monsterotica, the ticket for that. And then the second one, I actually was there the second sales opened, and I was able to snag my ticket. I think, because I'm only buying for one person, that kind of gives me an advantage. Because it's just one ticket. I just need one ticket. So once I get it in my shop, it's like, in my shopping cart, I could just check out immediately, and that's it. Um, so, again, so this year I was waiting for Monsterotica to release the tickets. And then they put up an update saying that they're going to release it. They're going to release tickets October 1st. So, I'm cool with that, because actually that's when they released it last year. They released the tickets on October 1st. So I guess, honestly, they're probably better off just doing that for the rest of these conventions. Because in the end, the author who runs the conventions, and I think that she's the reason that there was a potato in the first Monsterotica swag bag, because she writes sentient object romance. And it's just, it's like, like your vegetables, your potato. It's like, kind of like, if the Kool-Aid man, no, like what, there is somebody who did a Kool-Aid man book, but like, she does, like, oh, falling in love with a blender type of bullshit. It's like I've never read those things. They're not my thing. Like hockey sticks, falling in love with a hockey stick was a thing. It's kind of like, we all laughed when that woman married the Eiffel Tower, right? This weird woman in Paris, she married the Eiffel Tower, did the ceremony and everything. Now imagine that was a romance book, and that's what this woman writes. So she created this convention, and in the end, she says that she wanted to release tickets early, but then she goes, you know what? They're having some logistic problems that they need more time to take care of. So she felt, you know what? Let's push it to October 1st and we'll be good. So, okay, so I have more time to think about it. Well, there is no thinking about it, just making sure it's marked on my calendar so that I know when to get the ticket. someone wrote those books too, Joe. Yes, there are those. Yes, I think that there was an author where she did an entire series of that. I fell in love with my cereal, that type of thing. Look, it's that's just the genre. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's just, the unhingedness of it is kind of like the point of sentient object romance. It's just like, it's supposed to be weird, it's supposed to be silly, it's supposed to be unhinged. um but in my case, though, it's like I'm pretty much there for the werewolves, right? So those are the ones. It's the aliens, and it's the buff alien guys, and werewolves that I'm mostly there for. So if Nita was here, right? So my first question, and I'm going to posit this to the chat. You know, um, since you guys are going to have to take up her chair here. Like, if you're, it's like at what point did like monsters become cool for you, as opposed to monsters just being monsters? And I swear to God, it would have been the perfect um it would have been the perfect clip to have had that Bugs Bunny scene where he's with, oh, what is it, Rudolph, the big red monster. I forgot what the his name is. And and Bugs Bunny's doing the nails like, monsters are such interesting people. I was telling my girlfriends. It's like, but Warner Brothers would have struck the channel with lightning if I played that clip. So yeah, so it was unfortunate. George, there it is, George. No, but I think that there's another episode, because I think the names are random. I don't know which one. I don't know, like, whether it's just random or like which one is the canon name. Actually, you know what? It's like, let me say, there has to be a canon name. It's like, what's this? Red Monster, Bugs Bunny. Gossamer. It's Gossamer. That's the canon name of the large red-haired monster. And so it's Gossamer. George is Bugs Bunny just doing his imitation of Liberace. Oh, I wish my brother George was here. That. So that's probably where the George comes from. But I could have sworn there was an episode where they called him Rudolph too. But I guess Gossamer is the official canon name. So yeah, so I had wanted to clip that for the show, but like I said, Warner Brothers would have been, with the quickness, with the copyright strike. So we don't need that. So you all know, you all know, what the scene is and the monster is and everything, right? And then it's like, what made me like remember, it's like, that was like a creepy ass episode too, where Bugs Bunny was trying to like escape from the mad scientist and everything. Right, yeah, the abominable snowman. I'm gonna name him George. I will hug him and I'll pet him and I'm gonna name him George. It's like, that was like a really like creepy episode, when he's, Bugs is trying to run away from the mad scientist. So yeah, so it's like, so that was the funny thing. It's like I said, it's like, so this hyperfixation for me like only like popped up, like I would think like 3 years ago. And I kind of know what my origin story is, but like, like for you guys, like at what point did you realize that monsters really were interesting people? Like it's like, oh, you know what, the monsters are the good guys almost, or it's like, like instead of monsters just being scary and horror movie, that it's kind of like, oh wait, no, I actually like the monsters. Now I'm going to keep the definition of like rather generic, It's not like, because it's like if Nita was here, the conversation would have definitely steered in the direction I was kind of really going for. But I'm not going to subject you guys to that. So I'm actually asking it as a normal question. Like, at what point did monsters flip? Like, was it like Godzilla? Was it, like Gamera, friends, friend to all children? you know, um, it's kind of like, where it's like the monster, is actually like, you have Guillermo's Frankenstein that recently came out, where it was supposed to be like, where, like he really pressed the issue that it was the doctor that was really the monster, and not the monster itself, not the creation itself. Do we need to hear me out, Cake? Do you hear me out? Well, cake is always good, no matter what. There's always time for cake, But hear me out. Yeah, no. Well, yeah. You see, that's the thing. It's like, because if Nita was here, that would have been like, yeah, this would have been like a whole hear me out conversation. Just hear me out. You know, people are more inquisitive on how the monster becomes a monster. It's like their backstory that makes them human. Yeah, I agree that that's kind of like that's like a big part of it. There was this, I saw this video on Instagram where a guy was like goofing on the whole like werewolf fixation, the whole werewolf trend. And and he was saying, it's like, just admit that you're a furry. Right. And what's funny was that when I was at Monsterotica at this panel where all the authors were talking about how they ended up in this whole thing, like doing this, the woman who created the show, the woman who does the sentient object romance books, she says that that her, that what started her down this path was an obsession with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I almost died when I heard that, because that's pretty much how most everybody gets into indie comics. It's this obsession with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was just like, wow, the overlaps, the parallels, are like this. I'm not liking this Venn diagram, or maybe I am, or maybe I am, in the, in this Venn diagram. And it's like, so it's like, but yeah, but it's like, so so it's very funny, it's very, it's funny to make that, it's like, oh, you're just all closeted furries, right? And considering that all of everybody's origin stories, where it's either that scene from The Lion King, you know what I'm talking about, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I forgot what the other ones were, but most of them were kind of like, oh yeah, that too. It's like, are you sure you guys aren't furries? But but Joe brings up a point that it's like the difference between what they were talking about, and in the end, it's like what I found myself interested in. It's not like the furry itself, although that's yes, Jess, that scene. I mean, look, it's like that was the scene that launched 1,000 furry ships. Honestly, it's like, I think that one clip has probably created more furries than Zootopia in total. God, I hate those movies. I hate the Zootopia movies so much. But and I, it's like I said, it's like going back to what Joe had said, that it's like, it's about what makes them human. So with furry fandom, the way that I've experienced it and the way that I've understood it all this time, furry was about getting away from people. That's like the really, really underlying thing, that it's like, that, you know, Disney, we watch Disney's Robin Hood, and it's like, you know what, that's the world that I want to be in, type of thing, right? And that kind of, and then it's like everything that goes with that. But with monster romance, it's not about being a furry in denial, because actually I don't know, sometimes I think it is, though. I'm still on the fence about that. I really do think it is. But the furry aspect of it works side by side with the human aspect of it. Like what makes monster romance different from furries is it has to have people in it. It has to be there has to be that very human element in it. Usually it's the male main character is the monster, and then the female main character is the human. Although I've seen it flip. I've seen it, I've seen it, there's the Yahweh version of it too. Yahweh is very big in this as well. Um, but it's mostly like it's humans and the furry monsters, you know, side by side in the story, as opposed to furry, which is just all furries, that they're not interested in people at all, and if there are people, they're usually the antagonists. You know, um, you know, so so that was like, so that's where I was, at kind of like the beginning, where it's like, okay, we're at like all furries and everything, right? And then it's like, what's funny is that when I started working on Eager Raven, right, I made it a point to kind of flip the switch, and it's like, I want to reverse my interests to, but also it was more like a project to force me to draw people, so it's kind of like, Eager Raven as a story served a whole bunch of purposes, but it's kind of like, yeah, I wanted an opportunity to do a story that it wasn't all furries, and I wanted to reverse that. It's like, okay, you're going to have the monster girl or the furry girl, which technically Eager Raven is half, it's because she's, half unicorn, half human, but she's going to represent that kind of like animalistic side or that furry side. In fact, that there's a whole scene, but I do have a couple of furries in there. I do have furries in the book, but they're not the central focus the way people are, the way the human characters are. Yeah, you have Johar and Morgan, right, who are like the main furry characters, and but pretty much those are the only furry characters that appear in the entire comic book series. In the novelization, I make it a point to add more of them in. I introduce more furry characters into the novelization, because it kind of like got to a point where I did realize, like, you know what, it's like there really should be more of them here. So I added them into the novelization, and then like kind of like started to explain why there weren't as many of them. Not that they're rare, but they're completely outnumbered by human people. So so that's kind of like where the difference is, where it's like yeah, it's like the monsters are here, but not in a like, or the animals are here, the furries are here, but not in a furry way. um and like, and also like the thing with monsters, right, because it's also like kind of like under that umbrella is like elves and vampires, and like even more, and fae, and even more like human style. Like they're classified under that monster romance genre. um just like aliens is kind of falls under that umbrella. Like, I don't know if there's like a real like definition of it. um So so I was kind of like playing around with that idea. Joe says, it's mostly the reason why I don't like horror anymore. Monster storytelling has been replaced with gore. Gore does very little to a story. It's like saying a sentence with with never-ending adjectives. I mean, yeah, that's what it's like. I think like gore horror, it has become like its own genre. Um, but I do like, yeah, I do understand what you're talking about. That it's like it's more like the shock value. It's very hard to shock people nowadays. So it's like they go for the gore, because it's still a rather easy way to shock people. Um, so it's like, yeah, so it's like, so you have all these monsters, and like I said, it's like the umbrella is rather large. So when I talk about monsters, I guess like pretty much if it appears in a D&D monster manual, it falls under it falls under that umbrella of monsters. Because even like, because it's like, yeah, because I have a couple of books that have like orcs as the male main characters. um you know uh it's like, yeah, I know there's one. Yeah, it's like I have several. There's one book I have to read that it's a fairy and an orc, so there's technically no humans in this. So I do have to read that story because I was curious about that book, so which is why I picked it up. So so I know like there's like, so up until before then, it's like I always had a very, I guess, like sympathetic mind towards monsters. And I think it has a lot to do with uh that was Beauty is in the Eye of the Beholder. That probably, most likely, if you know what, look, monster romance is the thing that if it pops into your head, somebody's probably written it already. There's a short story floating around somewhere. Um, so so my interest in monsters, I think, was based on my exposure to to museums, essentially, if that makes sense. So a lot of medieval paintings and manuscripts and all the little marginalia, and even like, but mostly it's like, I'm pretty sure it really stems from Anonymous Bosch. um yeah, I'm pretty sure. Lou says the people who think furries are weird are probably the same people who can't eat a banana in public. Yeah, probably. Although there's a lot of issues going on there if they're like that. So yeah, so it's like, like if you see, like I've seen the Hieronymus Bosch paintings in person at El Prado Museum in Madrid. And it's, especially since it's the Garden of Earthly Delights, it's the cryptics, it's triptych. It's the triptych, although he has a lot of cryptids in it. It's the triptych. And there's one particular panel that has like pretty much a lot of the monsters that we associate with Anonymous Bosch. And I've always had an affinity for those monsters, like the little guy ice skating, the little guy in the teapot. It's like there's always all these little guys, monster guys running around the painting. So I know that I've always been sympathetic to monsters. And then of course, then as you add like pop culture, you add, like your Godzillas, your Mothras. It's like the fact that I don't think it's coincidence that especially the latest Godzilla movies, the Monsterverse, it's the monsters are essentially treated like just another part of nature. It's like it's neither good nor evil. Although Godzilla's job in the Monsterverse is to keep all the other monsters in check, so they don't go out where they don't belong, type of thing, and interfere too much with people. Um, so it's like, so I understand, so it's like, yes, I've always had this like, and then it's like, yeah, you combine the furry thing, and it's just like, it's monsters, like these animalistic monsters as sympathetic heroes, right? Or anti-heroes, if we want to dovetail it to the previous episode. Um, but it's like, yeah, it's like, but also, the guy who made the joke about, just admit that you're a furry. He did another video where he was talking about what your favorite monster says about you. Because in the end, it's like, everything that we end up hyper fixating on, it's like, it's because there's something in our personality that this represents. And it's like everything is symbolic. um so it's like, that my whole thing, like, especially, is like, my whole thing is werewolves, right? But the irony of it is that it's like, I like shifters as long as they keep the shifting to a minimal. And that's kind of the funny thing, why I'm very particular about the type of shifter romance books that I look for, because especially if you're dealing with werewolves, I need that werewolf to stay a werewolf, to stay a wolf for 90% of the story. Like, the funny thing, the reason why I couldn't get into like shifter romance, especially like werewolf romances, is that most of the time the werewolf stays human, and the werewolf or the wolf is kind of like an internal monologue. It's his id. The wolf is his id, and there's this constant internal monologue between the inside wolf and the human outside. And it's like, no, I need the furry aspect of this. And the thing that especially caught my attention is this manga called Revenant. And came across this manga. Actually, Seven Seas is, got the rights to this, and they're going to start putting out an English edition. I don't know if I'm going to bother picking that up, because one, I already have all the Japanese versions, and I read everything on a Scanlation website. Um, Even though everything is heavily censored in here, I'm probably not. There's very few pages that I can actually show. Um, but it's like, yeah. So you have like the werewolf guy. Actually, this is less werewolf really, and more what I forgot the word. Kimono, not kimono, kemono, which translates to like beast man, which is, I think, their version of furries. Because it's like, technically these characters do not, the wolf characters do not change. They're just beast people, right? So you see, so here's the wolf, here's his raccoon major domo, he has a fox working for him as well. So like, everybody in this place is furry, except obviously for the people. And if you've heard me talk about this before, yes, this is an Omega. This is also my introduction to Omegaverse. Um, so the beast people are like the top breeders in this society, and the humans are the Omegas, which this is the only way that they can reproduce, is with Omegas. Um, don't ask me to explain the minutia of this. It's supposed to, it just is what it is. Just accept it for what it is. So, well, that's certainly, well, yes, and that was certainly a catalyst for a lot of people, where Robin Hood and that scene from Lion King created furries. The ending to Beauty and the Beast created Monsterotica. I think that was the catalyst. And I guess, yes, we would have to remember, I would have to remember that was especially my catalyst for this. Like, for the longest time after that show, after that movie, I had been trying to write a Beauty and the Beast story, but I wasn't able to really get one that I liked. Like, I had wanted to gender swap it, and I could never get it to work. And the funniest thing is that and I was like complaining to Jose about this. Like, I'm writing this story. I'm trying to write it where it's the girl that's the beast and whatever, and the sensitive guy and this, that, the other thing. But I couldn't get it to click. And Jose goes, and I was telling this to Jose, and Jose goes like, well, you see, the problem is that even back then he kind of knew the score. He says, a woman has no problem accepting a beast, right? For some reason, it's like, even back then, he pretty much said a woman will choose the bear. It's like there wouldn't be like, there's no like issue with that. But when you gender swap it, the only way a guy would be interested in a female main character who's a beast is that he kind of has to be a little weird. It's like he has to kind of be a weirdo. And, and that kind of stuck with me. And I think it's like, and that's when it finally like clicked for me. Oh, no. It clicked for me after watching The Force Awakens. Now, if you ever wanted a conversation as to, I don't think no, you see that, because that's the thing. I wasn't looking for cat girls. That, like, that's the thing. It's like, oh, because you see that I'm sure the story would have been easier because, like, yeah, because she's mostly human, but with cat ears. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for, she looks like Beast, except she's female. Right. So, and that's when Jose said that it's like, well, if you want that, like cat girls are no problem. But if you want that, the guy has to be weird. Has to be weird about it. It's like almost like that has to be his kink, essentially. Right? So I really had to ruminate on this for a while. And like I said, if you ever wanted to know, if you ever wanted to like how a story progresses from idea, to finished product, and then kind of like the absolute insane roller coaster, it only clicked when I watched The Force Awakens. And that was when I was introduced to Adam Driver for the first time. And I remember like watching the movie, and it's like, and seeing Adam Driver and how just absolutely unusual he looked. Right? And then two things crossed my mind. One, that's my beast. I've been looking at this wrong the entire time. So I went back. So I remember like this happened like later after I saw the movie. But I remember like something clicking when I saw his face. And then later on, it's like, you know what? Let me see something. And I drew like a beast character based on Adam Driver. And it's like, yeah, that's my beast. Right? But then it's like, but then at the same time, I was like going, yeah, but what happened to my Belle character, who was supposed to be a guy in my original version. And then it kind of hit me that my other problem that I had was I really wasn't making that character very interesting, like as interesting as and by turning him into a beast, it made him interesting to me. But then I had the problem with the girl. And then it's like, you know what? Maybe this is not the story I want to tell. But I still want a Beauty and the Beast story, and I still want to do something different with the Belle character, with the girl. And it's like, and I did figure something out. I did figure that it's like, now it's like, so it's like, so in the end, it's like it kind of turned into like a different kind of Beauty and the Beast. It's still Beauty and the Beast story, but I'm still kind of working on it. But I got this, I finally got where I wanted it to go. But it still required a beast character. It's just that a female beast was not working for me. So I had to scrap that idea. Joe is saying, how is this versus different than Taming of the Shrew? It's like you're making it more about outer aesthetics than over the soul of the character. Right. And that was the mistake I was making too. Because the ending didn't work, where I changed the character, where, it's like, oh, the spell was broken. Right. So it just made me, yes, but you're right though. And that was the thing that I realized, that it's like, so then this became my concept. What if Beauty and the Beast thought they were both ugly? What if the both of them thought they were ugly? Thought themselves as ugly. And then it's like, what happens then? And at that point, that's where it became a more interesting story to me. Because I guess in the end, I found the whole thing about this one beautiful, desirable character falling in love with this ugly, undesirable character. I really did. In the end, I think that aesthetic wasn't what I was interested in. It's like I wasn't interested in the beauty part of it. Right. Yeah. Shallow Hal would probably be the opposite. But I didn't watch that movie, but like I said, it's like in the end, the whole like being beautiful, someone beautiful accepting the ugly, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to entertain, in the end, it's like, I guess Belle wasn't really as interesting as I thought she was at the time. I guess I don't know why that Shrek. Yes, Shrek I think would be a more accurate to what I was looking for. Where it's like that kind of started off, as it was kind of like, that was like a complete riff on Beauty and the Beast, except like, what if the princess was the one who turned into the monster, and would the guy rescuing her, and it's like, that's why Shrek rocks. I really do think so. I think that's why Shrek really, really rocks. I think that they kind of like went in a really good direction with that. So in the end, it's like, that's what it was, that it wasn't really about beauty, and it was because, that makes it superficial. It's like, so eventually I'll put out, maybe this will be a project that once I finish Eager Raven, the comic book, that's probably a project I'll start seriously, like putting, putting that story together, because it's like, because in the end, what I did with that Beauty and the Beast story that I came up with, that I have like a whole notebook that's full of all my notes on this thing. Actually, do I have it here? Oh yeah, this one. This entire notebook. I filled up this entire notebook. Well, almost a good portion of it. Like, these are all my notes. I wrote everything. These are all my notes for that I had for the story. It really I guess you could say I was really inspired, because it's like writing all these notes by hand. This is crazy. And all the changes that I made. And then there's other parts here that I can't show. But because it does go in that direction. Oh!
I love you.
So what happened?
I love you so much.
You forgot, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Right. Okay.
I knew and I failed you.
Uh-huh.
I am
What happened?
so sorry.
What
I
happened?
love
You slept? You slept?
Say you
slept
love
away?
me first.
I love you too, Lena.
Thank you, Jesus. So I got up at the ass crack of dawn.
Right.
You're like, when Chris left, I heard him leave. And when the sun came up, I got up and I started going out there and I was digging in the flower bed. And I came inside about 3 hours later and I was like, I got a little bit of time. I set the alarm and then the kids left too. So there was no backup plan. So when I yelled, Alexa, stop! Nobody was here to wake me up.
Right. Oh no, because that was something that I thought was going to happen at the beginning. It's like, probably the kids aren't around to wake her up to remind her.
I was so fucking excited for this goddamn episode. Like, Jesus.
Maybe, so it's like, maybe we have to go more in detail. Maybe we just have to like redo the topic. Just so, everybody was worried about you. Because I was stalling and everything.
I am so fucking sorry, Daphne. Like, I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
And I asked Alexa what time it was. And so I'm like, the alarm didn't go off. And I was like, freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, what time do I have alarms set? Do you have no alarm set type bullshit? Right. And so like run out and the kids are just sitting on the couch like nothing happened. And I'm like, dude, did y'all hear my fucking alarm? Poor Daphne.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, but we went to the store. We didn't hear it. I was like,
right. There you go. Okay, so there you go. So everyone's happy that you're alive.
I'm literally working in hell out there. Okay,
right?
Is like,
is it the temperature's really bad?
Disgusting. The temperature is hot. The humidity is miserable. The only times I can work is there's like this window between like sunrise,
right,
and around 9:30.
Right.
It's like. So
but I think in the end it's like the topic turned more into Beauty and the Beast because it's like because I was telling everybody
that's why
the conversation I don't want to take the conversation in the direction I had wanted to go with you with the chat. So I was kind of like
with me,
well, that's kind of the point of the topic.
I'm safe. Oh, I love that.
Yes, we need to revisit the stories where people fell in love with Count Chocula. And it's like, cause I said that because look, this is a topic where they're making jokes in the chat, and I'm saying no. I know that book. There's a book. There's a book. There's a book.
Oh my God.
Kool-Aid Man. There's a book.
Look.
But but I guess it turned more into a conversation about like the monster just ending up like more of a symbolic projection of what we're looking for or something.
Yes,
as
a feral beast to grab you and be like, "Come here, bitch!" Bend you over right and be like,
completely.
Oh God! But Yeti's safe.
But he's Yeti safe, right? But in the general sense,
and that's why it's fantasy.
Well, right, but it's like, but in the general sense of it, that it's like, like we were talking about, like why actually furries don't really cross over into monster romance. Well, they're not really as much as we joke, and as much as the origins.
Oh no, they usually don't, because here's and when I say this, please separate what I am saying. In most instances, furries aren't feral enough looking. And when I say feral, I'm not talking the fucking, the weird furries feral. I'm not talking.
Right. Yeah.
This.
They're just,
they're like monstrosity.
Well, they're kind of like, Yeah, it's because feral
I
in
can
furry
look, I
is
can
different from
look.
feral in monster.
Yes,
in
thank
monster
you.
romance.
Big,
You
big,
know,
big, big.
in furry, feral just means like it looks like the animal, but it can talk, it can, it's just a furry that looks like the animal. It's a talking
Right.
horse or a talking wolf, essentially.
Right.
But and then you have the furry characters, which are just essentially the animal as humans, but they're not
Right.
humans; they're animals, right? Where in monster romance, it's kind of like it's more of a combination of both, where it's like, yeah, there's a certain like the furries, it's like, yeah, you have the furry characters, or like I was saying, like you have the beast characters, the beast men, but it's kind of in the name. They're like beasts. They're like there's a
Right.
certain feralness, a ferocity to them, right? Where they do come off as monsters, but they're not monsters, you know. But also it's about the human dynamic with that monster. I mean, you can't. It's like Freud's on the phone.
It's complicated. It's complicated.
Right, like Narnia. Yeah, it's like, yeah, Narnia is also it's funny. It's like because Narnia was like a huge influence for that for me, like non-furry, where it's like you have the animal characters interacting with the human characters, which which I was especially basing Eagle Raven on. That you have like these human characters interacting with these animal characters, and hilarity ensues, right?
It's crazy. You
What?
managed to do better than C.S. Lewis. I'm sorry.
Well,
like, I loved the concept of
right.
Narnia. I
Yeah.
loved The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe
Right.
book. And I am specifying book here. I did not like any of the movies. I did not like any, and I think I only like the Silver Chair past The Lion, the Witch, and the
Right.
Wardrobe.
I mean, because it's the fight that Tolkien and C.S. Lewis would have. Tolkien hated that people kept calling his book an allegory for World War II, which he says it is not. It
Right.
is. He takes his experiences in World War II, or was it World War One? I think it was both, actually. I think it was pretty much both.
It was during both.
Yeah, and he created this. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor, but it's not an allegory. A metaphor is when it's based on like those ideas. An allegory, if it's a direct, it's a direct connection. That was the same reason. The same thing that Richard Adams had with Watership Down. He really hated the fact that people were saying that's like, oh, it's a story about fascism. And he says, no, it's a story about rabbits. The fact that he uses experience with fascism to create the Warts Warren, that's just
people always gotta be projecting.
Right. Aslan is supposed to be Jesus. Aslan is not metaphor. He is Jesus. Narnia is heaven.
Right.
It's like, that's why in the last book, in the last battle, that's why Susan gets left behind. It's like she was right. Yeah, she wasn't worthy. She was too much. She was too human, too mortal for heaven, for Narnia. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's an allegory, and that's why they would always kind of like argue between themselves with that. So it's like, yeah, so I like Narnia, but not the allegory of it. I wanted it to be literal. Yeah, exactly. That she enjoyed the earthly delights, right? I mean, going back to the anonymous box
Jezebel,
right?
Jezebel in hell.
Right, exactly. and that was the literal meaning of that ending. This was not, it's not metaphor. Susan doesn't go to heaven.
She showed her ankles too much.
She liked boys, she liked lipstick, she liked nylons, the whole thing, right? But yeah, so it's like, so I forgot my point, but it's like, yeah, so it's like my whole thing, like especially like using a lot of these as inspiration or like subsequent inspiration for what I'm trying to do in Eagle Raven. It's like just like, when you have the monsters and the humans working together or against each other, or they're just in this same world together.
Right.
Although, what's funny is that, so I was, so there's like this genre of manga and like, especially like visual novel video games where it's like monster girls, right? There's this whole genre of monster girls. And I was kind of wondering, it's like, it's not wondering, but I would just like make the joke that it's like, what it's like that, Eagle Raven is a monster girl comic. It's kind of like a reverse Beauty and the Beast, technically, where it's like, because even in the entire story, she gets constantly, like referred to, oh, you're a beast.
Right.
She's constantly being referred to that. You're a beast. Oh, you're not a person. It's like you're a beast. And, and there's like, and especially in the novel, that there's this, there's kind of like this running conversation that I put in where it's like, yeah, like, like, are you an animal? Are you a human? Like, there's an entire scene that's completely hinged on that debate. In the novel, I mean, it's like I don't really go into the comic because, again, it's one of these scenes that I can afford to get a little complicated with in the novelization. Right. But yeah, it's kind of like, well, you're a beast girl, right? And so I kind of, so I was just mentioning before that, when I was trying to write this Beauty and the Beast story, because we were all disappointed with the ending of the cartoon, that I was trying to write this kind of like this gender swapped Beauty and the Beast, but I could never get it to work. Until like two things happened that I realized that it's like I wasn't interested in the character that gets to be beautiful. So it's like I had to remove beauty completely out of it, like the aesthetic of beauty out of the story for me to finally get a story that worked for me. So I figured, like, after I finish Eagle Raven, I'll actually like sit down and really like hammer out this story, because also to kind of like keep my interest in this, I ended up connecting this story to the Eagle Raven universe, kind of, like to the Eagle Raven world. So the beast in this story is kind of a contemporary to Eagle Raven in this world. So these are stories that happen like simultaneously. So yeah, so in the end, it's like I can have let's see, but this is world that has mystical beings. Elves are not human. Eagle Raven in a way is being treated like a mixed race child in the beginning. Absolutely. Well, yeah, exactly, absolutely. So it's like, yeah, but it's like, but I kind of like leaned in more towards the, like the beast girl. That's what she, that's what some people call her, like, you're nothing but a beast. Oh, but in that conversation, I had a conversation with Jose, because I was trying to figure out how come my gender swapped Beauty and the Beast story, I can't get it to click. And he goes, and Jose had explained that it's like, look, a woman falling in love with a beast, that's actually kind of normal if you really think about it. If you really look at like, especially in like fairy tales, that happens all the time.
Right.
Like, nobody is fazed by that. It's not really special. Pretty much he said it in a way that's like, oh yeah, it's like you chicks have been choosing the bear from the dawn of time.
That's great.
It's normal. But when a guy does it, now mind you, we're not talking about anime cat girl. We're not talking about that where they look human, they just have cat girls and they're all like cute. Yeah, we're talking about beast. And he goes, that's a little bit more complicated. You know, he goes, for a guy to
because they're
fall in
scared
love
of
with
her.
the
She'll hit her.
beast.
She'll hit him back.
Well, it's like, you know, he said, the way he said it is that for a guy to fall in love with a beast, he has to be weird. He has to be a little bit weird.
Bitches too. Be right back.
Yeah, you know. You see, that's the conversation that I, so we're definitely going to have to revisit this topic. We'll choose a different topic for next week, but I'm going to put this topic back into rotation so that we can actually, me and Nita can have the conversation that we really wanted to have about this. I figured since it was just me in the chat, I wasn't going to horrify everybody. You know, but so definitely, you know, monster romance and furry are two different things, right? And they're very much two different things. And you know, and then it's like, it's just kind of like playing around with those ideas of like, monsters are more about the humanity of monsterness, where I think furries is more about removing humans.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like two different mindsets. That's why, you know, it's like, it's easy to joke that's like, oh, you're all closeted furries, but in the end it's like, no, this is different. It
really is different.
You know, but it's kind of, so you know, it's I don't know. So that's missed you. So we're gonna have to revisit this. You know, and actually the conversation that we really want to have about this requires a House of Bob episode, but we can't do House of Bob on YouTube anymore.
Oh, that's so stupid.
I really do. I really did miss that. I mean, because technically we could do an adults only, you know, podcast, you know, live stream, but I don't trust YouTube.
I don't.
I really don't, because it's like you know, I don't trust them to say it's like, oh yeah, this is adults only, but you know, oh oops, someone said something they weren't supposed to and we're taking the entire channel off the air. You know, I don't trust them at all. You know, although, you know, it's funny that there is this streaming site called Picarto that they allow not safe for work streams. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe we should look into that. Well, because it's like, I miss the Tangy quips. That's why I don't like doing this show without her. I need the spicy.
Girl, I told you all you got to do is ask.
That's correct. Yeah, but you have to actually beg it. I was begging today. I wanted this conversation today.
Were you now?
You were sleeping. Excuse me.
It was nice too. I have you know. I was dreaming that I was on my way to your house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was in Dallas, Fort Worth the entire dream, waiting for my transfer.
Are you sure it was a dream? You're stuck in Dallas, Fort Worth the entire time?
No, it's always Dallas.
Oh my goodness. So
but
so
it
we're gonna
shows, even my subconscious was like, I've got to get to Daphne. I've got to get to Daphne.
That's
but
true.
Instead, I'm on an airplane.
You're stuck in Dallas, Fort Worth. Oh my goodness. But but you know what? We did what we were able to do today. So Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna get my shit together, people.
You need to put it in your Google Calendar or something, or however.
It's really messed up. It's just so fucking messed up because on so many levels, between the diet and exercise change, the creatine, the Zoloft,
oh my god,
weed, my life is like 100% better.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But the ADHD is through the motherfucking roof.
Wow.
And it's like I have to pick and choose. I think I'll live with this demon versus depression.
Right. So. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So here we are. The finished byproduct is some perimenopausal bitch that cannot get a schedule together, but is living her best life finally.
Look, you know what? We'll work with what we have. You know, I mean, just, but also set an alarm.
I did, but
I got a whole list of good topics. You know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get an alarm that I have to get up and turn off, not one that I can be like, bitch, shut up.
Right? Yeah, that's the toughest.
A very abusive relationship.
Yeah. Speaking of beasts, right? Speaking of monsters. Oh my God. So I want to thank everybody for keeping me company today. I want to especially thank Nita for waking up and being okay and coming on the show anyway.
Oh my God.
Even if it's at the very end, but that's okay. Like that, people were worried about you, because I was, looking for you.
Oh, I feel so bad.
I'll
be here for you guys.
We'll do it again next week. Yeah, we'll do it again next week. So.
Yeah, we will.
Which will already be September 1st, by the way. Jesus. Yeah, no good, no good. God. I mean, what's funny is that at least over here, the weather had finally stopped acting up. Like, it actually is nice outside. But so again, thank you everybody in the chat for keeping me company today until while Nita was napping. Thank you so much to all the beautiful eyeball people watching from regions beyond, watching at least keeping us in the background while you're working, listening to us yap about odd things.
We love you guys.
Right. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We love all of you. And like I said, it's like for those of you who are joining on the replay and you like what we're talking about and you are entertained, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button and all the buttons to keep the algorithm gods happy.
We do like it when our buttons are pressed.
Yeah, exactly. See what you're missing? See what you guys...
A double.
Right there.
Oh, I hate that fade out. Oh my God. It drives me crazy.
We can shut that off.
I just did.
There's a way to shut
annoying. Because it makes me feel like we're like working against each other on the keyboard.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's right.
It feels like you're switching and it's like without verbal communication, there's no way to know. So you're like double clicking. It's like,
right. Yeah.
Fuck. Type shit,
Yeah, that's true. That's true, right? And if it's one thing you don't have patience for is a switch with no
with no discipline. No communication. You gotta have communication.
Oh my God. So if you want to, do you have any okay, well actually, you know what? I think those last words are fine from you.
I'm great.
If you want to learn more about me and my artwork and everything else, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can check out Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. And you can follow the link over to Webtoon, where you can read it for free. You can read issues 1 through 8 for free, with issue 9 currently updating. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com, and read the archive of over 1,000 pages there. And while you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, where you can keep up to date with all of my new art and sketchbooks and comics and Kickstarters, and get a free PDF comics bundle just for joining. You get an issue of Ego Raven, an issue of Tall Tales, and an issue of the Oswald Chronicles. And again, just to remind everybody, Eagle Raven is on Webtoons. And once you finish reading there, you could also head on over to Kickstarter and sign up for the issue 13 pre-launch page, because I am looking to get Eagle Raven issue 13, the campaign, launched mid-September. So, and I have some really cool early bird specials. Oh, I gotta show this now that you're on. I gotta show this. I gotta show this. For digital backers of Eagle Raven 13, there is a special 72-hour level where you can get issues 1 through 13 for $20 PDF. It's a digital bundle for the first 72 hours for everybody who's reading or is reading Eagle Raven for the first time, or you just want to have a digital backup of all the comics that have come out so far. But if you are a physical backer in the first 72 hours, not only will you get the bonus sticker and print that all physical backers get just for pledging, if you pledge specifically in the first 72 hours, you will get this mini, pop me up on the screen, Nita. You will get this mini watercolor print.
Oh my God, it came out so good.
By Jaden Lanning. This was actually a cover for one of the novelists for chapter 13 of the novelization, but I had to do something with this. There was just no way I could run the issue 13 campaign and not have this on the campaign somewhere. So it's a digital print printed on textured watercolor paper, so it looks like a little watercolor print, and it has my little stamp on the back as well. And it's just, look at how gorgeous that came out. Look at that. You want this. This, I swear to God. Look, I even have it on my phone and everything. It has my wallpaper.
Rewind 15 minutes, Grant, because me too.
Yeah. So if you pledge to a physical level in the first 72 hours of the campaign, you will get this added to your pledge. So this
she loves guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. My daughter got complimented by the Zong brothers. So
yes, I know. There you go. Oh, but yeah, this. So yes, you will get this if you pledge in the first 72 hours of the campaign, physical level only. So I'm showing love to both digital backers and physical backers too. So thank you so much. Link is in the chat and in the show notes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. So that out of the way. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And like I said, we'll definitely we're going to revisit this topic at another date. So hold on to that same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be back next week. And with another topic that hopefully Nita will wake up just in time for.
Oh my God.
Thank you much again. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.